on to Star Trek Online, and who likes money? So, I'm going to share with you a few tips that I have for making, energy credits. This isn't going to be a video about dilithium or anything like that. This is a video that is purely about energy credits. My energy credits are a little bit low at the moment, but now with this, you're probably going to want to get a wallet upgrade because you will hit that 15 million cap so fast it will make your head spin. So I'm just going to show you a few things. The exchange is actually where we're going to be doing most of our trading, and we're going to be relying on research and development for our money. This is not about flipping items or anything like that. This is purely just about actually making the items and then putting them on the market. So I've got a few schools here. Science, shields. Level 5 is the basics of where you want to get them to. And once again, I've said in my previous video, if you're not doing research EXP every day, well, more for you. But let's see here. Okay, so we've got a few items here that we can actually make today. We'll take a look at the impulse engines. Let's take a look at the impulse engines. Alright, so let's see. We'll go to very rare rarity, because with level 5 we always want to be looking at very rare rarity. And we'll go to ship equipment, ship impulse engines. Let's take a look. What do we got? Okay, so level 2 combat impulse engine is 25,000. That's not really that much. 70,000 for a level 12. Alright, well let's just take a look at the level 2s. Yeah, so the market is completely flooded with level 2s, varying in price from 25,000 to 500,000. Yeah, that's no good. We want a higher price than that as a base price. So let's go to Lieutenant Commander. This is all right. This is 150,000 for 150,000, and that's just hyper impulse engines. Yeah, okay. There doesn't seem to be any combat impulse engines or balanced impulse engines. So maybe there's our little niche market. How about we make some balanced impulse engines and we'll sell them at 250,000. Why not? Alright, so let's go to engineering and we'll get the impulse engines out. That was Lieutenant Commander, which is Mark 4. And the balanced impulse engines are the ones that we're making. So we just want to confirm that. And see, I'm only at level 7 with my engineering. The very rare chance is 73%. Now, the main reason behind this is because I have a very expensive duty officer, which gives me plus 30 to my current skill. So the items that we're using will be a plasma capacitor, 2 coolant injectors, and 1 industrial replicator supplies. Now, just to give you an idea, I'll show you how much each of these items actually costs. So, industrial replicators, right? Just switch that there. So an industrial replicator, and we only need 1, is going to cost us 1,000, possibly 3,500. Let's sort that by ascending price per unit. Right, so they're going to cost us about 2,000 each if we do it that way, but you can actually make them as well, which is cheaper. And what was the other things? It was... I can't even remember now. Let's take a look. I don't have a very good memory. I'm the first one to admit that. So it was coolant injectors and plasma capacitors. So these are the plasma capacitors. We need 1 of these. And those are 798. So far we're up for about 3,000. And coolant injectors. Where are the coolant injectors? Coolant injectors. There's a coolant injector. So we're up for about 45,000. That's what it's going to cost us to make this item. And we're selling it at 250,000, remember? So, okay, very rare chance is 73%. That's what we want. We want the very rare, but let's just see what happens. Alright, so we got a blue one. Let's just see how much one of those blue ones is going to be worth. The blue ones are usually cheaper. Well, obviously cheaper. So, let's take a look. Whoops. Lieutenant Commander. Rare. There are none. So just for shits and giggles, let's sell it for 10 times what it cost us. Let's sell it for 50 grand. And we'll make another one as well. We have to make some more of these. Now, that is going to take 14 minutes to complete. So, basically, what's just happened is we've made 45 grand for 14 minutes work. Because waiting is the work. You can speed it up with dilithium, just stay away from this button. It's not worth it, man. You can spend your dilithium on so many other better things than just simply upgrading or producing or finishing an item early. It's just not worth it. Just actually wait out the timer. Like, look at this. 15 hours, but it'll cost you 14,000 dilithium to finish it now. What's the point in that? You know? It's not worth it. So just stay away from that button. I mean, if it was 5 dilithium or 10 dilithium, then yeah, maybe take a crack at it, but it's not worth it, so don't do it. Right, so we've just got our items that we need, and we should be able to make another one. Now, let's see if we get... Yes! So we got one. So that's 250 grand that we just made. Well, 245,000 that we just made. Albeit, you have to actually wait for these things to sell. And that's going to just actually require patience, and you'll have to keep reposting them if they don't sell straight away at the reduced price or whatever the reason they didn't sell. But I will show you that this actually does work. I've just got a few sold items in my exchange at the moment. This was a Mark 8 Tetrion beam array. It cost me about 10 grand to build, sold it for 200 grand. This is a Plasma beam array Mark 5. It had pen on it. I sold it for 500 grand and it cost me exactly the same amount as that Tetrion beam array. By the way, that Tetrion beam array was a blue item. This is a rare, this is a epic item. Purple. There, I knew I'd find the words eventually. Here's another thing that you can do. Targeting interfaces. These cost about, I think I calculated it at about 100 each, and I sell them for 2 grand. So I sell them 100 at a time, and they build, you can build 5 of them in 25 seconds, and if you've got 3 slots open, that means you're building 15 every 25 seconds. And if you've got a 25% crit rate, that means that you're building about 25 every 25 seconds. So every second that you're doing it, you're earning 1900 credits. And you just put them up there, and 100 at a time I do. I mean, you can do 500, 999, however many you want to do. It is time consuming, but people do buy these things because they just simply couldn't be bothered waiting for the build of it themselves. So I sold those for 300 grand, and the total cost to me was about 10,000. So I made 290 grand from that. This is a Combat Impulse Engines, much like the ones we just made. These ones were blue, and it sold for 100 grand. This is a Tactical Plasma Infuser. This is a weapon upgrade for plasma weapons. I was selling plasma weapons at the time, so I thought I'll sell some plasma infusers along with that. 300 grand. That was purple though. This is another one. Exchange Combat Impulse Engine Mark IV. This was another blue Combat Impulse Engine. Sold it for 100 grand. You've sold an item in the exchange. Polaron Beam Array Mark 8. That was only 180,000, but that was a blue item. And these are component focusing lenses. Now these I make for about I think it's about 70 or something that these cost me, 80 maybe, and I sell them for 2,000 each. But I've sold 1, 2, 3 in the past day at 200 grand each. That's 600 grand, and they only cost me a couple of thousand to make. This is an assault minigun that it was just one of the items that dropped out of one of the boxes, and it just happened to be BOE instead of BOP, so it was bind on equip instead of bind on pickup, and I just put it on the on the exchange for 20 grand. It sold almost immediately. I didn't want it, I didn't need it. Yep, more focusing lenses. Neutronium armor. This is Mark II Neutronium armor. There's lots of people making this now, so you probably won't be able to make any money from it. But I sold that for 150 grand at the time, and that cost me about 200 credits to make. This is 2 million for 100 firing sequences. Now, I didn't know it at the time, but I was actually making a loss on this particular trade. Firing sequences cost a lot more money to make than they used to, so I actually made a loss when I sold those firing sequences. But it was still 2 million in my pocket, so it wasn't too bad. Plasma Beam Array. That's another one of those same Plasma Beam Arrays that I was making. This is an epic one, 500 grand. You get the general idea of it anyway. You know, this is 150 grand for a directed energy distribution manifold. I have no idea what that does, but I sold it for 150 grand. Disruptor Beam Array Mark 8, 300 grand. Neutronium Alloy Mark II, another 150 grand. And so on and so forth, all the way down the list. Oh, these energy amplifiers, they sell super fast, but they take a long time to build, and you only make about half your money back. Combat Impulse Engines Mark IV. These were some purple ones, 350 grand, and that's literally what I have just made right there. Same thing, 350 grand. So, I hope this has been helpful for you. There are other ways of making money in this game, like you can get an item at level 2 and upgrade it until it's level 15 and then sell it without actually equipping it, obviously. And you can make a mint doing that. Like you can turn a level 2 item into about a 25 mil item by the time it gets there. Like by the time it gets to level 15, it'll be worth about 25 mil, and it'll probably have cost you about 7 or 8 mil. So you'll make about 18 mil from one item, but the thing is they sell very, very infrequently. Like you'll be lucky to sell one item like that a month. But I'll just also show you the kind of stuff that I have here at the moment. Nothing up for sale is under 100 grand. This is a secondary deflector. I was trying to get a purple one at the time, and it didn't work out. Hyper impulse engines, Polaron cannons. I have no idea where I got those, but I have them anyway, so I'm selling those. Focusing lenses, mini focusing lenses, disruptor induction coils. Yep, That's actually what a blue level 8 disruptor induction coil is worth at the moment. Um, of course, I've got more focusing lenses. I've always got focusing lenses on the market. Plasma beam arrays, 200 grand. That's a blue one as well. That's level 8. Phaser beam, 300 grand. That everyone makes these phaser beams. Everyone makes the anti-proton beams. You're better off going with plasma beams and just having like 5 or 6 of them up there, and someone will buy them all at once because they're trying to deck out their ship with all the same type of weapon. Plasma infusers, 300 grand, 300 grand, 300 grand, all this, 300 grand. And this bottom one is my resilient shield array that I've got up on the market at the moment. Times 2 cap, got extra regeneration. I had to actually re-roll it to get it like this. And it's got anti-proton resistance, 25 million. Those isolinear chips that I have up there are probably going to have to reduce the price on those because they're not selling at the moment. Tetrion beam arrays were actually a lot more expensive than they are now when I posted these, but I just basically leave them up there until they return back into my mailbox, and then I'll post them up at the price that they are at the time, and see if they sell that time around. But I won't actually take anything down once I've actually posted it up there. It's not that there's a penalty for doing that. It's just that if they were at that price, maybe they'll go back to that price before they hit my mailbox again. But yeah, disruptor induction coil, 500 grand. You know, this sort of thing. Energy credits are just so easy to make, and all you have to do is just level up your R&D. Always have your bonus research running, and once you get a school to level 15, that's as high as it needs to go. You have unlocked everything in that school once it gets to level 15. There is nothing above that. You can take it to level 20 if you want the extra bonuses for producing higher tier items, but it's really pointless because the higher tier items generally make you a loss, not a gain. It's actually the lower tier items that make the money. So I hope this has been helpful, and you should be able to make a little bit more money and have some cash in your pocket to upgrade your gear. This is Saurus 001 signing off.